Hey there, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the 101 people that are subscribed to me at this moment. Thank you, I appreciate it. And to everyone else who is listening, get ready, because unfortunately, as I explained to everyone else yesterday, I do long format ranting. And so this is not going to be anything technical about anything I'm talking about. It's just me talking to myself about things that I thought about while laying in bed yesterday. So to begin with, RIP right now to the Lakers, who without LeBron and Anthony Davis are really showing how good LeBron and Anthony Davis are at the fact that the Lakers won as many games they did, because they're struggling, man. And I just want to get that out there just so I can vent on that. But so I'm back to the drawing board with the 50mm f2 versus the Viltrox 56 1.4. And the biggest thing right now that is really keeping me from making the purchase is not only the filter thread size, because I just like the idea of being able to move my filters from lens to lens, but also the fact that I can't find a 46mm Tiffin Black Pearl Mist or ND filter anywhere that is like going to come from a reputable source. I've looked on Amazon, and I don't trust anything unless it says Prime and delivered from Amazon, delivered from the first party, just because that's whenever you get fakes, and that's whenever you get sometimes really good copies, but sometimes really bad copy, like copycat versions of materials, of lenses, of bags and things like that. So even looking through eBay, of course, they're priced even more through the roof. It's like $80 for a 46mm. Really bugged me, because I have an issue with people on eBay, with people on OfferUp, people on Facebook Marketplace, because I'm realistic whenever I price things. I understand I'm gonna take a loss on this. Okay, you guys have to stop pricing. I don't understand this. It's people who buy photography gear and they never use it because they thought they would be into it, and they didn't get into it, whether because they didn't have time or something. But they always price it almost identical to what they bought it at, and it could be like 3 years old. They'd be like 3 years old. Here is my barely used XT1. Here's my barely used XT1. Here's my barely used Canon 5D Mark II. Purchased for X amount of dollars, selling it for, and it's like $200 off. Comes with an extra battery. So, like buying stuff online sucks. That's why I go to KEH. That's why I go to MPB. That's more importantly why I check out Lens Authority. Y'all, if you guys aren't using Lens Authority to purchase lenses and juxtaposing them to KEH and MPB, I'm telling you, do it, because they will get you the sweet deals. Like literally, and they tell you if a lens is good or not. And I'm telling you from personal experience, if they say it's flawless, it's flawless. If they say it passed, it's really good looking. It just may have some cosmetic issues. If they say that it's flawed, it's still gonna work. I've gotten lenses and bodies from KEH where the coating was flawed, but the glass was flawed, and it had scratches on it. And then I think one of them was like at f16 or something like that, or f22. The scratches started showing flaring, but you couldn't see them in any shots. It just created flaring at a certain f-stop. So me personally, if you buy lenses used, look on eBay, that's fine. But don't hang your hat on that, because after taxes with eBay, and then after they get their money out and everything and they process it, you could be paying anywhere from like $40 to $100 more than what you would at KEH, more than what you would at MPB, but even more specifically, more than you would at Lens Authority. Because I'm telling you, I've gotten great copies. My X Pro 3 was flawless, was a flawless copy. I got that for, I literally want to say under $1,300, which that's basically a brand new X Pro 3. I mean, it literally came in the original packaging. It looked like open box, brand new, basically brand new, under $1,300. Now, if you go look up an X Pro 3 online on eBay at the same time I was purchasing it, I don't know about right now, the $1,500-$1,600 for one that looked just like that. Everyone's saying mint. That was a mint copy. And I mean, I haven't had any issues with it, but I buy from Lens Authority all the time, bodies and lenses. And I think that, the bags, they have gear for if you're a videographer. They've got the Atomos Ninja, and I don't know how they do it, man, but they're always able to keep the prices down at least $10 to $20 lower than other guys. And I've gotten the very well used and bargain deals from KEH or MPB, and MPB very well used means it's very well used. In KEH, when they say it's a bargain minus, I mean, it still looks nice, but Lens Authority, lot of times they look pristine. So shout out to Lens Authority. I'm never going to be sponsored by anyone like this, but shout out to them. Shout out to all three of them for making it easy for us not having to deal with eBay, because I don't do eBay anymore. It really bugs me. I'll do eBay for a film camera if KEH doesn't have it, but that's it, because I'm tired of, I just get really bugged by that on eBay. I understand you're trying to make your money back, but at a certain point you have to read the room. But the issue is that when you're on eBay, you're the only one in the room with a whole bunch of people who think like you, and so all of you are trying to overprice everything. There is no reason why on eBay that 35 1.4 should still be $500 because you say it's mint, but I can go on one of these other websites or on Amazon even, and it's not $500. Amazon used or MPB KEH, they're going from $380 to $450 max. So save yourself a couple, $50 to $100, couple $100. The 90 f2 on eBay is still going for, the cheapest I saw was $761. The issue with that is after taxes and after shipping and all the deal from eBay where they take out their cash, I was going to pay $850. That is a lens that I can get immediately right now from KEH for $761 out of the door, or 771 I think bucks right out the door right now. So be on the lookout for that. Use MPB, use KEH, use Lens Authority, use these avenues that are legit avenues that have people legit checking these out instead of accidentally purchasing a bad copy or a dud from someone just because you get to see more pictures on eBay. And that's the thing that gets people is these pictures look good. Well, everyone's going to edit their photos. I hate when I'm on eBay and they have the contrast turned all the way up so you can't see any blemishes on these lenses. They've got the shadows turned all the way down. They've got the highlight. I mean, it's you talk about photographers editing. No one puts their heart and soul more into editing photos than photographers trying to sell camera gear on eBay. So there's that. Also, check out Swappa. I use swappa.com to purchase cell phones, any gear. I buy a lot of my stuff used. I don't really buy brand new that much. The last thing I bought brand new, I bought my iPad Air brand new. They had a sick deal on it, so I bought that brand new. And then things like this, like microphones and stuff, if they're not like this is a Takstar. This is a $30 mic. I just saw some good reviews on it and read up about it, and then I did a nice listen in with some my Sony or my Sennheiser headphones. Then got a nice listen to it and figured, it's pretty good for what I need, and I don't need extra studio quality because I'm in a room that's not sound treated, so it won't even make a really big difference. But yeah, use those guys. They do a pretty good job. Anyway, the other thing I was thinking about, because it really upset me, because there was a time, and I remember this so clearly, and I like Tony and Chelsea Northrup. When I started out in photography, in digital photography, I actually leaned heavy on Tony and Chelsea Northrup, on Frono's Photo, and Art of Photography. Because when you come over from film, and even more importantly, actually, when you come over from DSLR to mirrorless, that was a whole other, me coming from the 5D Mark II to the Olympus OMD EM10, that was a really tough transition. And I don't think people get enough credit for coming over from DSLR to mirrorless, because it is different. You do have to relearn the feel of the camera. They're always smaller. The lenses, if there's a crop factor, the crop factor there's different than Canon crop factors. Just the way the camera operates, the autofocus, there's a lot of things, not being able to see through. The biggest thing was because in the OMD EM10, I couldn't, if I was taking portrait photos, for example, I couldn't see straight through the glass. They didn't have an option for that on that lens. I only saw what electrically my exposure was going to be. So when I'm shooting with flashes and everything's dark, it was hard to pick up focus. Things like that. Like, it's tough. There are limitations and there are things you have to work around. Luckily, I found out about Fujifilm and I was able to use an OEF and yada yada, and that's a whole other story. But basically, those transitions are pretty tough. Coming from film to digital, it's not as tough. just because you're already so ingrained in exposure triangles and stuff and how things work. But the body and learning menu systems is what is hard. And these were people that walked me through. Frono's Photo, I will always recommend him because people shit on Fro a lot because of the whole I shoot raw thing. And I understand what he means and people get offended because he says, if you're a real photographer, you only need one shot to get the shot. And I understand it can come off as pretentious, but I'd rather someone who always comes off as pretentious and is the same way all the way through, because the same thing goes with the angry photographer. The same thing goes with, because like there's different forms of it. Volandis is always himself. Angry photographer is always himself. Frono's Photo is always himself. There are other people who are here one day discussing something and then they backtrack on it and they're for it another day and they're for this brand and they're against this brand. So I just remember one time where Tony and Chelsea Northrup were talking about how kind of immature and unnecessary aperture rings are on lenses nowadays, because everything can be controlled inside the camera and inside the body, and how Fujifilm, it seems like an outdated thing. It's a waste of space. It creates all these issues and stuff like that. But now I see everyone really excited about, and I've been seeing it for a while, everyone really likes to point out and say how smart or how good aperture rings are now on Sony lenses, on Nikon lenses, on Canon lenses. And everyone loved the fact that you could dedicate that front ring on the Canon RF lenses to be a dedicated aperture ring. And once again, it just bugs me because it just reminds me of gatekeeping. Like, everyone is against it until one of the big boys does it. And whenever you have brand loyalty, that's usually the way it goes. So now that Sony's putting aperture rings on their lenses, on their G lenses, these new small G lenses for their, basically to be paired with the A7C, or I think they put on a couple G Masters or something. Canon has it to where you can dedicate the aperture ring. Now everyone appreciates the aperture ring, and it's no longer, well, I've got my scroll wheel, because now everyone's like, oh, I can have shutter speed on this, ISO on this, and oh, I got an aperture ring and I control everything right here. Well, I'm just saying, I remember these reviews where that was one person called it childish and one person called it gimmicky, and that's why Fujifilm isn't a pro camera line. They are really just, they're for consumers, they're for hobbyists. It's more about the look and the feel. And once again, I'm not trying to be rude, but at the same time, it's kind of a dick move to like jump back that quickly. It's kind of a dick move. But I love them. I really do. I like watching their videos. I think they're super duper informative. There was one time where I made a joke because I think they're talking about the potential Canon R1, and I said the quote, if you guys know, once again, the angry photographer, where he says, if you're gonna have that many megapixels, why don't you just move to medium format? I said that as a joke, and I literally got like a 4-sentence response about what medium format camera can do this, and I'm like, dude, I literally think you mistook my satire for something else, which is funny because they constantly bring up Frono's Photo and the angry photographer for online YouTube camera beef. So, but yeah, I don't understand it, how it kind of bugs, because for the longest time an aperture ring was gimmicky, and now an aperture ring is a necessity, and people are realizing how great it is. And it's just weird because people are like, oh, Canon did it, Sony did it, like, oh, this looks great, Nikon did it, oh man, this is so intuitive. And I mean, let's just be real, man. Like, call a spade a spade. Like, it's only great because it's a fanboy kind of thing. And I'm fine with fanboying. Like, love your brand, but don't be a douchebag and don't gatekeep just because your brand does something. Which reminds me, once again, I saw another Leica and Fujifilm comparison. Stop comparing Leica and Fujifilm. Stop. You're only doing it to drive up clicks. Even more, you're totally misrepresenting both. Are the focus systems the same? Nope. So why are you comparing them? Because they look similar? And stop it right there. Are the sensors the same? No. Megapixel count the same? No. Are the interchangeable lens systems the same? No. Can you adapt glass onto Leica? No. Can you adapt glass onto Fuji? Yeah. Even there, there is nothing the same besides the look of that body. That's it, of where your eye goes on the viewfinder. Stop comparing Leica and Fujifilm. That is literally only once again, and I love the guy, and I'm all for the review that I saw. It was literally, and it's talking about the price and stuff like that. And everyone in the comment section is justifying nothing but the price of the Leica. Stop it. We get it. You bought it. You don't have to justify it, dude. Just go take your photos. Everyone is literally so worried about, and they kept saying Leica or Fujifilm's a poor man's Leica. I love it. It's not. Fujifilm is Fujifilm. Leica is Leica. That's it. That's literally it. Fujifilm in no way, shape, or form is trying to be Leica. Once again, Leica did not create the rangefinder style. They did not create the look of the Leica camera. Was not created by Leica. The first company to do that was Kodak. Leica did not break any ground or anything like that. Leica has an intuitive focusing system for their manual focus rangefinder cameras, and technically Fujifilm isn't even a rangefinder. So what in the world? I'm still not understanding why people are so gung-ho about comparing Leica and Fujifilm. It makes no sense. In no way, not only not on paper, but also in use, in practicality, are Leica and Fujifilm anywhere near the same. That's why you see a lot of people pair up a Leica and a Fujifilm, even though Fujifilm has APS-C sensor, and that's so bad, because they can't get the same performance out of a Leica as they can in a Fujifilm because the autofocusing system. That's it. There are people that will have a Leica just as their personal camera that they bring with them, but there are a lot of wedding photographers that shoot Leica that I've seen on here who have to have a Fujifilm with them. And by the way, they have a Fujifilm because the aesthetic is similar. And that is it. They can literally get a Sony, they can literally get a Canon, but they want to keep up with that same feel and aesthetic. And that's the only place where Leica and Fujifilm are the same. And so you guys, stop it. 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 I'm gonna make another video about this again and rant more because I'm really bugged by that because I see that more and more nowadays, and it's because of resurgence of film. I understand that. But I'm just saying it again. Film isn't better than digital. Film has a different feel. In a lot of ways, the workflow of film is more cumbersome and it's not as great as digital. Digital surpasses film with the workflow, and digital surpasses film with the, autofocus in the way that it helps out the person behind the lens create quicker, faster, easier, etc., etc. I can get more things in focus. I'm able to shoot more frames. I don't have to worry about being limited by the amount of money I'm spending on film and all these things. And film has some greater qualities than digital cameras, whether it's dynamic range, whether it's the colors, whether it's the feel, whether it's the grain, whether it's the ability the ability to shoot on a Leica and like all these nostalgic things. There are great benefits for both, but stop pretending that like film is the end all be all, because they're both going to be here and they're both going to have to live side by side. And there is not one person with a film camera that I know on Fujifilm that I know on YouTube that does not have a digital camera tandemed with it. And I'm being serious, because every single one of y'all motherfrickers has a Canon EOS R, has an R1, has a Leica SL2, has a Panasonic S5, has at least a Sony A7S3, has a Fujifilm GR, whatever, the medium format, has an X Pro 3, has an XT3, has an XH1. You all carry a digital camera with you. So just be real about it. For your professional work, a lot of you will say that you use digital cameras a lot. So anyway, that's my rant about that. I'm just, the whole film thing, it's becoming snobbish again, dude, and I'm not understanding it. Why do we act like this in the film community? Why is there gatekeeping? Why is there snobbery? Why is it that one week this is immature and this is not practical, and then when your favorite manufacturer does it, it's a genius thing, and I can't believe I ever lived without it? Why do we keep trying to compare Leica to Fujifilm? And I'm about to tell you exactly why. But anyway, that's it for what I was thinking last night. And yeah, have a good one.